I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would you please take a roll of the trustees to see how many members of the Dispute Resolution Committee are here?
Yes. Commissioner Kevin Boozle,
Here.
Commissioner Robert Postal,
Here.
Shay Madden,
Here.
Aaron Dalton,
Here.
Tamar Alexander,
Present.
Senator Christine Tartaglione,
Here.
Chair Tom Van Kirk.
Here. Okay, everybody being present, thank you all for taking time out of your schedule, particularly given the time of year it is, and additionally the fact that we did have another public meeting just before this of the entire trust. I would like to say that this meeting of the Pennsylvania Opioid Abuse, Misuse and Addiction Trust Dispute Resolution Committee has been duly advertised as a public meeting in accordance with the Sunshine Act and is therefore open to members of the public as observers. Participation in this meeting is going to be limited to Northampton County as a beneficiary under the trust order and its designated representatives, trustees on the Dispute Resolution Committee, and those that the trustees have invited to in advance to take part. This meeting is being recorded, and the minutes from this meeting will be available on the trust website after they are approved. Could we please have the minutes were distributed to the Dispute Resolution Committee? Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 3rd, 2024 Dispute Resolution Committee?
So moved. Kevin Boozle.
Second.
Okay, any discussion of those minutes? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Okay, we will move into the appeal, and the sole item on this agenda is the appeal from Northampton County concerning its program number 1, which is its county newsletter. They will have 30 minutes to present this appeal, which will include questions that the members of the Dispute Resolution Committee may have. I note that we are starting their appeal at 1:37, so they will have until 2:07 if they need that much, feel as if they need that much time. Directly thereafter, we will have a discussion of the committee members, and we will intend to vote on the appeal thereafter. Could the people anybody attending on behalf of Northampton County, please identify yourself?
Hello, Mr. Van Kirk. My name is Steve Barron. I'm the Director of Fiscal Affairs for Northampton County. I'm a cabinet member appointed by the county executive. For my friends who are non-home rule counties, we are a home rule county with a strong executive form of government and a legislative body we call county council, just so you guys are aware of how we operate. And I'm an appointee of the chief executive officer, who is the county executive and who is elected every 4 years.
Thank you, Steve. Being from Allegheny County, I understand that form of government.
Understood.
Anybody else? Do you have anybody with you from Northampton?
Go ahead, Gretchen and Robin.
Sure. My name is Gretchen Hill, and I am the Assistant Administrator of Northampton County SCA.
And my name is Robin Barbosa. I'm the Deputy Director of Human Services here at the county.
Welcome.
Mr. Van Kirk, do you mind if I share my screen? I do have a presentation that I would like to share, if that is okay.
That will be fine.
Awesome. Can you guys all see that? Oh, hold on. Let me share it first. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure you guys could see my slideshow. So first of all,
Steve, if I could before you start, now that I see you're starting with the slide, I just wanted to make sure I understand exactly what is being appealed. Okay, the initial request, as I understand it, is approximately that was made in March for the county newsletter was approximately $21,000. Is that correct?
$21,999.98. That
Okay,
is
so
correct.
let's say 22,000. And
Yes.
what was that money spent on?
So that money was actually spent on a part of our marketing campaign, what I would call the analog portion of our digital advertising campaign. It was spent on a newsletter that promoted our larger marketing plan for opioid information and ultimately recovery, what we call our Fake is Real program. So this was a portion of that. Now I know the trust did agree with the $4,180 of that being reimbursable by the trust. What our group has decided to do is I have a PowerPoint that is a page-by-page breakdown and kind of give you our overall marketing plan for what we're doing and how we have some statistics that show once this newsletter did go out, the community engagement with our Fake is Real program, along with other programs we're running, just exploded. So much so that we're planning on doing this again.
Okay, and my only other question before you get started, Steve, and then I'll ask if any other trustees want to ask questions before we start. But is the newsletter that we are discussing that went out, is that something that goes out on a regular year-by-year basis?
It is not something that goes out on a year-by-year basis. The idea actually came out of how we were running our Fake is Real program. So to give you some context to that, we realized that we hired a marketing company called Kudu Creative. They helped us create a website and really brand our message on the opioid crisis in Northampton County. And we created this Fake is Real program, which is a standalone website. There's a lot of push on Facebook with Facebook ads, media ads. We have billboards in the community. And there were two things we realized. One, we wanted to make sure we were targeting Northampton County citizens specifically. And the trust has been, very receptive to the Fake is Real program with the billboards we've put together and some of the other advertising. But one of the things that the county executive, myself, and the team felt was that there was not something reaching older residents of Northampton County. We have a bit of an older population who might not necessarily do Facebook. They might not necessarily be marketed by digital ads. They don't have Hulu or any of the TV streaming services. They have regular cable TV. And so we wanted an analog way, so to speak, of getting to them. And we felt that newsletter would be that. This was a targeted newsletter mailing directly to Northampton County residents. If that gives you some context.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Any other questions before Steve gets started? Okay.
So on the presentation, just to start, one of the things that we've really utilized as the guiding principle for the opioid settlement is the NACO statement. This statement has sort of been what we have utilized. We've shared this with our marketing team, and just by engaging with the residents and understanding their unique perspectives and experiences, local governments can better target their efforts and develop programs that are effective, culturally relevant, and financially feasible. And there are multiple low-cost, high-impact strategies we can utilize to address the needs of people with substance use disorders. And I think that is very important because we felt in our marketing we were missing that key demographic. And so that's why we kind of came up with this newsletter. Again, it was not something we had done previously. As a matter of fact, we have actually worked on improving for future newsletters that are going to go out with the same situation. We're going to have QR codes for our Fake is Real program, as well as doing a mailing that is a little bit more cost effective, making sure we hit every home and not missing some, which we did, based on how we did the mailing list. And feel free to interrupt me if you have questions about any one of my slides or anything we're talking about. Prevention and our prevention strategy has been activities to work to educate and support individuals with and communities to prevent drug and the development of substance use disorders. So our mass prevention communications come in many different forms. We have flyers, websites, billboards, and we have a lot of mass media campaigns. When we go out to events with our Fake is Real program, everything is branded for the Fake is Real. We have Narcan distribution kits that have that information on there. We are really hitting that message hard. And you know that basically fake pills, the concept is fake pills and fentanyl have real consequences. That's where Fake is Real comes from. Okay, so some of our Northampton County statistics. So we have attended 32 events this year. We have held 33 Narcan trainings, trained 472 individuals. 211 individuals requested items through our websites due to mailers they have received. And we've distributed 4,629 boxes of Narcan, 529 Deterra pouches, and we have 114 lock boxes that have been distributed. So once we launched the website in 2023, from May to July, we had about 367 sessions that lasted 38 seconds on the website. And that session could be someone taking a screenshot, grabbing an information and a link, clicking through. This is from the main page. If you notice on 8/1/2023, our newsletter was sent out in that time period. Through October, our sessions went up to 630 sessions. So we increased engagement and people were staying on the site longer. We also, from November to January, we further increased our traffic to now we're at 2,200 sessions, and we consistently have anywhere from the statistics I've looked at, 2,200 to 3,500 engagements on the website per quarter, which
And
is
Steve, am I correct that what you have on here, the 32 events, the Narcan trainings, the distribution of Narcan, the Deterra pouches, et cetera, they were all separately reimbursed under other programs that you submitted and that the trust did approve. Is that correct?
That is correct. And what and Mr. Van Kirk, my point with this mail piece and stating it's the analog portion of what we're doing, while it came in under a different program, it all brands towards that Fake is Real. Okay. So just so you guys can understand that overall marketing. These are some statistics in of drug overdose deaths in Northampton County. In 2017, we had that very scary high. We had some lower numbers, but since the peak in 2001, in 2022 and 2023, our numbers have come down. And we're hopeful that that will continue with the Fake is Real program. So county government, I believe, is the, and for those of you who are in county government, I think we're the least known level of government. We serve people in the final stages of life or at their lowest point in life. And I find it very, very rewarding that I do this kind of work because I feel like every day I come to work and help people. And so we wanted to take this analog approach to reaching out to people because 90% of the core services that we provide in county government, as most of you on the board know, and I'm sure our other elected officials know, you know, these services we provide, 90% of them, there is some sort of core underlying issue. If a parent has to interact with children and youth, yes, there are those unfortunate situations where, you know, things happen out of the blue, but a lot of times there is either an underlying mental health issue, maybe an underlying substance abuse issue. There's usually another issue that gets you to that visit from children and youth. If you're interacting with drug and alcohol, maybe you're in a diversionary program with the courts. The county runs the courts. same thing. So we felt any bit of information we could get out to people and encourage those engagements would get people earlier in the process. And that's what we were looking for. So we were looking at things that were directly to the home, directly to our citizens in Northampton County. And one of the issues we were realizing is that our billboard campaigns, our Facebook ads, they're not 100% exact science, but if we put an address on a newsletter or a pamphlet, and we send it to somebody, we know we are sending that particular household and it's impacting Northampton County citizens. So that is why we wanted to take an approach unlike the billboards, where people can drive down our Route 22 or Route 78 in Northampton County, our two major thoroughfares, and see that, but they might not necessarily live in Northampton County. And while it helps the community as a whole, we wanted to make sure we were helping our community. So, some statistics. We saw that our standalone website was getting the results, which I showed you, and was part of this campaign, right? One of the things that we're getting with the impact is we have the digital marketing, the standalone website, we're driving traffic digitally, and we have a billboard campaign. But when our team sat down and talked about this, we were at a loss as to how to communicate with what we called the analog generation, the people who we're not getting those non-digital messages. And we wanted to have something that the person could utilize, which one of the pages you may note when I show you our pamphlet later on is we encourage somebody to clip out the page in the back. It's got a fake is real advertisement on one side. And then on the other side, it has a list of every county phone number you could possibly, need or want for interactions with the county government. So just to kind of go through it, I will leave this presentation up for you guys. I can provide you a copy of it when we are finished. So all information we've put forward. So from our first introduction from the county executive, where we have a fake is real ad right at the bottom, interactions with our county government. If you want to make sure you engage in voting, all of that stuff, engaging with county government was our goal. The second page was our Northampton County elected officials, our executive board. One of the things that we felt while putting this in here is that interaction with government, appeals to their legislative body were very, very important in this case. And since 90% of the services we provide are part of, the service-based industry or people at the lowest point in their addiction, we felt that it was the best way to kind of get people to engage. Each one of these 9 council members, which is a diverse, have diverse views on the political spectrum, could be a conduit to get somebody the services they need. And they all have constituencies they answer to. So on page 3, again, that engaged citizenry, we wanted to put some stuff out there about drop boxes. One of the things you will notice is that a drop box is at our human services building, where all of our human services are located. So we actually have people coming into our building where children and youth are housed, where Veterans Affairs are housed. And we've actually had some folks who are like, oh, wow, I didn't realize the Veterans Office was here. And they would pop in, drop off their mail-in ballot, and they would talk a little bit about their tax break that they get for being a veteran or a disabled veteran. So we've increased engagement with county government through the newsletter. A big part we've noticed of recovery is, having people outdoors, talking a little bit about our farmland preservation program. And in fiscal affairs, we also provide dog licenses for therapy animals, along with licenses for hunting, fishing, and things of that nature, which help get people outdoors and engage the community with some of our open spaces. I know Northampton County gets a lot of press for being the warehouse capital between New York and Philadelphia, but we do preserve a lot of open space. And we wanted to highlight that for people because being outdoors and being amongst nature is really an aid in recovery. We also put in on page 5 some basic construction methods and operations training we were doing with community economic development, a festival we were running, along with lead and water line hazard replacement. Part of having good, safe homes for people who are in recovery, and getting them in touch with the services they may need through our Office of Community Economic Development. On page 6, our conservation district talks more about our outside land and things that we do to preserve our dirt and gravel roads and some of the hiking trails that we have within Northampton County. And then our career opportunities, the district attorney, the court system is a big part of this. Victims of crime, along with folks who are charged with the crime, may need to get in touch with their district attorney to hopefully mitigate those circumstances. So we've put that information out there, a little bit about working for the county, and then our emergency management 911 resources that are available. Everything starts with a 911 call, in some cases with regard to getting people services they need, and the county obviously runs that service as well. Page 9, and I'm sorry I'm going through all this very quickly because I have limited time.
Steve, I would say if you want to go through it even more quickly, we did receive, and you were very kind to give us the whole newsletter, and that has been available to all the members of the committee for some time.
Perfect.
I'm sure they've all
Yes.
received it. So
Our parks and recreation information, again, piggybacking on that. And finally, the thing I did mention up front when we're talking about the analog world, right here on page 15, we have a contact directory. And like I said, this covers everything you could possibly want to contact in Northampton County, especially within the human services realm, including our information referral and emergency services. We do push that number quite regularly for people because someone will answer the phone at Northampton County and get them services 24/7, 365. And then the last page, obviously, is our Narcan kits, which have now, really been a boom for us. We've had lots of people who have requested those, and it's been working very, very well. And then, one of the things we've noticed is we can't always change the circumstances of how we find our people, but we can choose how we react to them. And this newsletter really is that reaction, right? We're realizing we're missing a whole swath of our population, and how do we get that? How do we get to them? How do we get them the most recent and up-to-date information, especially those citizens who aren't online? We do have a very, while we have the city of Bethlehem and the city of Easton, which is our county seat, we have a lot of people up north of us that are situated in the Slate Belt, where they might not necessarily have access to broadband internet. Yes, there are some people who still dial up with the whiny modems, and we're trying to get to everybody that we possibly can, because we do have a very diverse socioeconomic county, and this was part of our plan. Again, we had never done a newsletter like this before. And we continue to learn from it as we go through, what will work better and how we can communicate with those swaths of people. So that's a little bit, the presentation was to sort of organize me a little bit. But I will answer any questions you have. I also have Robin Barbosa. She is the Deputy Director of Human Services in Northampton County, and Gretchen Hill, who is part of our drug and alcohol team, who has really been working hard on this plan to get Narcan to people, and to advertise our Fake is Real program, and really push fentanyl awareness and opioid awareness in Northampton County. So.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there questions that any of the trustees have?
So just so I know, this is Rob Postal speaking. What you said, Steve, I guess, is my issue with this, hearing this. Everything you would want to know about Northampton County is included in the newsletter. And I understand the ads, I'm calling them ads at the front and the back. The media, if it was to purchase those ads, that would be, I get, and I know that's not the way that the that the trust was looking at this. I think they looked at it by page. Someone remind me, it was proportional. If you asked 22,000, it came out 4,880. Can you remind me where that 4,880 came from? I think it was proportional by page, wasn't it?
I believe that we asked the question of what percentage of funds identified as spent are related to opioid use disorder, and the answer that we got back was that it was $4,180 related to OUD, and they determined that amount by taking the total number of pages in the newsletter and dividing that by how many times fake is real or drug and alcohol division is mentioned.
Okay, yes. So
And
it was proportional. Okay.
yeah, and we didn't do that in this case. We didn't buy advertisements. One of the things, like, we could have bought, I could have easily spent $21,000 on advertisements with Fake and Real and those penny saver magazines and the coupon clippers and stuff like that. But one of the things that our team really talked about, Mr. Postal, is it Postal?
It's postal, just like the survey.
Postal, okay. So one of the things we talked about as a team, and Robin and Gretchen can sort of attest to this, one of the things we really looked at was, how do we encourage people to engage with county government? And making them understand that, like, that veteran who might be having a veteran issue, but also struggling with an opioid addiction. A lot of times we find those underlying issues through the other services we provide. I mean, there's a lot of folks that, we treat who have an underlying mental health diagnosis that are involved in, children and youth. They might be involved with our crisis line. And even, with regard to suicide prevention, which unfortunately is a pandemic that does not get as much funding as it should. So that was our thought process in that. So I could have easily spent $21,000 on ads. But we felt that it would be better to actually increase citizen engagement directly to Northampton County.
No, I agree with that. I think spending on ads is difficult. It's hard to justify commercials. Okay,
Yes.
from that. And I understand the strategy of engaging in the county. Believe me, I do. I'm trying to just make the connection between everybody engaging in the county for everything with the targeted population that we want to serve as far as the opioid treatment and remediation.
Mr. Postal, our biggest boom in Narcan, or picking up Narcan, are our drop boxes of Narcan. When people come to the courthouse, you will have people that come in to file court documents. They'll have attorneys. You just have folks off the street who are there for a custody hearing. You can see that Narcan container on the busiest days at the county government center. The Narcan flies off the shelves for people just to have it on hand. So we feel that any engagement, because we've just become this Fake is Real program, any engagement, we always have Fake is Real advertisements within our building. We've done a whole lot of awareness around that brand, and we're driving people to the centers and when they engage with county government, to those resources, and it's sort of an all-inclusive product, if that makes sense.
Well, yes, and we did. I think it was mentioned that Fake is Real is supported by trust. It was approved by the trust.
Yes.
And those Narcan, the availability of those, I guess, are being supported by Fake is Real. And it's good that the ads that are in the newsletter are driving website traffic, it seems.
Yes, and
they're doing
actually,
what they're supposed to do. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and actually this specific newsletter that we put together was to reach the non-digital people. Kudu Creative is wonderful. They have done a great job engaging with folks, targeting our ads on Facebook, on the Morning Calls website and our local news outlets to make sure we're hitting local people. But we really wanted to hit those residents, and how we did that, as opposed to, like I said, and we view this newsletter as an extension of Fake is Real. And I don't know with the reporting how it got pulled out of that, but really it was to drive traffic to that larger marketing plan of Fake is Real.
Okay, we have about 4 minutes left. Are there any other questions any trustee has?
I do, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, please, Kevin.
I'm on the same sort of line of thinking as Mr. Postal, Commissioner Postal, and I think that trying to stay in the framework of proportionality, right? So I think that you're making an argument that, look, I could have paid for advertising, but when I look at what you're advertising, it's basically county government is open to all people, right? So when I look at what you're doing, I like it. By the way, I like the newsletter. I think it does drive people too, but I think that's part of county government. That's sort of doing government with excellence, I think, and that making it accessible to all, right? So I'm good with that. I guess the part that I'm concerned with is I don't know how much, if you're looking at proportionality, farm preservation and opioid, and not that opioids don't affect people with farms and things like that. Sheriff's Department, he has more than enough marketing going on for him, just in our county alone. But we all get that. I guess my point that I'm making is I can't slap naloxone saves lives sticker on the sheriff's vehicle and pay for the vehicle. I would say proportionality. I would say, yes, you have marketing that's going on proportionally. Here's what's covered under this. So that's my statement. My question is, this kudos resource that you've used, I didn't see where that was the cost of the newsletter I see, but the kudos, the marketing plan, was there a portion of that paid by opioid funds, or was that all covered under county funds, other places?
It's actually all paid by opioid funds. Yeah, everything but this particular piece of marketing has been covered by the trust. So Kudu is the marketing entity we hired to do the plan to create the standalone website. As we were looking at the best way to talk to people about, getting information out there, this analog thing came up, and it really wasn't in Kudu's wheelhouse. Now they've since actually helped us get into more households with some of the things that we're going to be doing analog wise, and working on QR codes and stuff like that for the marketing plan. But this is the only thing that Northampton County, which we're thankful for, this is the only thing that kind of got kicked back. And it was kind of like that we knew that this was like something for everyone else, and that's sort of what our thinking was. And look, I understand where you're coming from. Now our sheriff and home rule, we're one of 2 counties that does not elect a sheriff, right? So the sheriff is like me, it's an appointee of the county executive. But I would never think to purchase throw a sticker on a car and say we're purchasing the whole car. That's
just a statement.
I got you. No, I hear you. And I can appreciate that thought, but that's something we weren't thinking about in that. We were trying to give something that a citizen would want to read through, and hit that reader that wants to really understand county government and hopefully catch their attention as they page through about the other resources. That was our goal.
Okay.
Thank
you. Other questions of Steve or Robin or Gretchen? Hearing none. Thank you very much for the presentation, Steve. Just to
You're welcome.
Kind of echo what Rob and Kevin were saying. I really did read the newsletter very, very carefully, and it really is much more what Northampton can do for you, and not really very small proportion of it is opioid or drug or fentanyl related. I admire everything you're doing. I'm glad we approved all your other programs. But myself, I have a difficult time approving more than the 4,000 or so that you indicated where OUD was mentioned on a page. And some of those mentions were less than one line, such as in the cover letter, whereas many other things were covered. So that's just my own personal observation. But with that, I don't know, Bree, do you want to mute the folks from Northampton, and we can have a discussion of the trust members?
So I can do that.
Thank you. Okay, discussion.
I don't have anything else to share beyond what was already asked in the kind of Q&A.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I am as well, Chairman.
Thank you.
Yeah, nothing here.
Okay, hearing no further questions, I would like to have a resolution, and we can have further discussion after I read the resolution, but the resolution will be resolved that the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Pennsylvania Opioid Misuse and Addiction Abatement Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Northampton County Program Number 1, County Newsletter, is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial by the trust, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision by the trust that the program is not compliant with Exhibit E. Once again, voting yes upholds the trust position, and a no would be a vote to reverse. And Bree, correct me if I'm wrong, or Jason or Jordan, but when I say that we are that we denied or said it was not compliant, we did approve the $4,180 that they identified was related to OUD. Is that correct?
That's correct, Tom. So a yes vote would affirm the approval of 4180, but not more than that.
Okay, thank you. And remembering once again that 22,000 was the total amount asked for originally. So effectively, we are a yes vote would deny 18,000 of that which was requested. Could I have
Chair, could you, and I know you did it during the presentation, can you just, for my sake, please walk me through how we came up with 4,000?
Actually, it was Northampton that came up with that. We asked a question after our initial consideration of what was the total cost of the newsletter, and then what percentage of funds identified as spent or committed to this program are related to OUD. How was the percentage determined? It was their response to that that I read to you a little bit earlier tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Could I have a resolution to the effect?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Senator. Is there a second?
Second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Any abstentions? And I only vote in the event of a tie, so I am not voting. With that, the resolution passes and has a majority of yeses, and the original decision of the trust stands. Okay. Any other business to come before the Dispute Resolution Committee?
No.
Okay, hearing none, I accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Kevin.
Okay, second,
Second.
all in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you all very much for your time, and thank you to Northampton County for a very thorough presentation. Thank you.